Hey again, it's Topher. This is June 4th, a nice rainy day here in the Pacific Northwest. Um, Today I wanted to kind of show some of the other plants that I have fruit, which aren't really growing in the garden. So I have some like trees and bushes and vines and things like that. Yeah, so to start with, we've got this blackberry. So got lots of blackberry flowers, and the bees really like that. And yeah, you can see I'm gonna have a ton of blackberries. Really like to make blackberry crisp and blackberry jam and stuff like that. So that'll be fun. Yeah, I'll go take a look at some of the other trees. And kind of mixed in with the blackberries over here, I've got this apple tree, which is starting to grow apples. Oh, you can hear the rain in the trees. The apples are coming in nicely. I think this is a Liberty apple. I'm not sure. It's actually my neighbor's, but a lot of it is coming over the fence, so I get all the apples that are growing on my side of the fence. I think it's a Liberty apple just because there aren't any other apple trees around this one on this side of the property or anything, but it is pretty fertile. It makes a lot of apples, and most apple trees aren't so fertile, so I'm guessing it's that kind, but there may be some other varieties of apples which are so fertile that I'm not aware of. I don't know. I also have a little box here. I was growing some corn over here as kind of an experiment. This part of the garden does not get that much light, so I don't know if it's going to be enough to grow the corn, but I just want to see. I put some chicken wire over it because the squirrels dug up all the corn. I planted some corn, and the next day I came out and every single one was dug up. So I replanted it, and then I put this chicken wire over it. That seems to have worked. So yeah, we'll see if that works. I don't know. If anything, I'll always be able to use the stalks or something. Yeah. And over here, I have an olive. You can see it's got little baby olives growing on it. I do have to protect these. I think the last few years, I haven't been able to get that many olives from it because the squirrels really like to climb up in the tree and eat them, sometimes even before they're ripe. So, probably doesn't taste too great. These olives are really more for making olive oil. That's my plan of what I'd like to do with them, but I need to find some way of keeping the squirrels from eating them so that I can get enough to actually make a good amount of olive oil. But this tree produces really well, and I get just tons of olives just from this one tree. You can see it's pretty tall. It's a pretty big tree, so I have to get a ladder to get some of the ones up there, but yeah, it grows really nicely here. Then I have a grape. You can see I've got lots of little grapes that are growing kind of all over. This sort of vine's kind of gotten a bit out of control. I normally like to keep it pretty pruned and kind of contained, but this year I sort of just let it go all over. So, I get a lot of grapes at least. These are okay for eating. They're really more like wine grapes, but you can make a nice juice with them, or, I honestly don't usually do much with them. I just kind of will come out here and pick them when they're ripe, just have a few fresh grapes. It's kind of nice in the summer, so we'll see. After this season though, I'm kind of thinking about replacing this grapevine with a different variety that doesn't have seeds maybe, or just kind of tastes a little bit better, and something that's not a wine grape, but they are nice. I have another berry growing over here. I'm pretty sure this is a raspberry and not a blackberry. It's not a very big bush. You can see it's really just this. So we'll see this year. This is a volunteer I'm curious because the leaves don't look the same as the blackberry, so it's either a different variety of blackberry or maybe it's a raspberry. I don't know, some kind of berry. So it's got a lot of blossoms, so we'll see what kind of berries it makes. And then I also have another apple tree over here. This one's on the other side of the property, so it's pretty far away from that other apple tree, and I don't think it's cross-pollinating with it at all. But you can see it's pretty big and kind of goes everywhere. It's actually an espaliered tree, so it has 3 different varieties of apples that are growing together, which allows it to fertilize and make fruit even if there weren't other types of apples around. So it does produce a lot. The problem with this one is that it is right along this fence, and the squirrels have really easy access to it, and they eat a lot of these apples. So this year I'm going to try to find a way to protect them and hopefully be able to actually keep more of the apples this year. I always get a lot of apples, but I know there are many more that get eaten by the squirrels, and I'd like to try to eat. I'd like to try to be able to harvest at least half the apples that this tree produces, because it does make a lot. Here's that same apple tree, but from a different angle. You can see some of the other varieties of apples that are there. This makes some green apples, some red apples, some yellow apples, but they're all really good. Down here I have a couple of little strawberries. They did flower this year, and they were growing some strawberries, but it looks like most of them are actually gone now, so I'm not sure what happened. I'm guessing something ate them. I don't know. I kind of just planted these for fun. The neighborhood has a lot. Oh, look, there's one strawberry. One tiny strawberry is growing. So we'll see if I get one strawberry. I just planted these this year, and you know, they're still taking a while to kind of get established. So I don't expect too much from them this year, but I'm hoping in a couple years this whole little bed will be full of them, and we'll get lots of strawberries. But for now, you know, we'll just be rooting for this little guy. So this is a new tree just planted this year. This is a plum. It's a grafted tree, so it has 4 different varieties of plum, which allows it to be self-fertile, and also you get some variety. So there's Italian plums, Brooks plums, which are my favorite kind of plum. It also has, I don't remember what the other kind, Seneca, I think, and Stanley. I don't remember, what does it say? Stanley plum. I've never actually had those before, but I've heard they're a pretty sweet dessert plum. So, you know, I want to try pruning, you know, drying them, especially the Italian ones, and maybe the Brooks ones. But mostly I just like eating plums when they're fresh. But I do want to get into preserving them, drying them, making that kind of thing. And this one is a pawpaw. It's kind of weighed down by the rain, but yes, I planted this. I actually started this one from seed about 4 years ago. So it's about 4 years old. I did have another pawpaw, but it died this year. I'm not sure why. So I need to get another one because these are not self-fertile. So I'm gonna try to get one that's about the same size as this one. It's also good to get one that's a known cultivar instead of growing one from seed, because pawpaws can be a little unpredictable when you grow them from seed. You kind of never know what you're going to get. It might taste bad, or it might have some, you know, might make small fruit or not produce very much fruit or something. So it's good to get a known cultivar, but I kind of wanted to try going from seed just to see what would happen. sometimes, you know, you end up with one that's really good, and now you have a new cultivar. It's kind of just an experiment, but yeah, I'll probably get a known cultivar from an orchard or grower or whatever, that's about the same size as this one, if possible. Though they are kind of hard to get that big because the root systems tend to be really well developed. They have really long tap roots, So I might not be able to get one quite so big, but at least give it a little bit of a head start so that, you know, this one's going to start producing flowers probably in a couple years, maybe another 2 or 3 years. So I don't want to wait too long for the other one to catch up. But in the meantime, they do have these really cool leaves. I think pawpaws are really fun because they're like tropical fruit. You know, they look like tropical plants, but they grow here where it's definitely not tropical. So I think that's kind of fun. Yeah, thanks for going on a little tour of my trees and vines and bushes. I'll post an update when things change. Thanks.